Hi, welcome to the Magical School of Sales. My name is Nishant, and I'm going to guide you through this journey. And I'm going to share with you my lifetime of experience of sales on this channel. And today, first, we're just going to go through the sales process 101. I'm going to go over the basics, what you need to know. And this will be beneficial for someone, whether you are a seasoned veteran. I'm sure there's some tidbits here that'll help you. Remember, going over the basics is always important. Foundation is everything in what you do. And also, if you are new, have never been in a sales environment in your first life, maybe tomorrow is your first day or you're starting next week, this will help you too. And anybody can do it. You just gotta follow the process, follow the methods. And there is obviously an art to it as well, but I'm going to go into the sales process 101. Now, I just want to just share a little bit about myself. Why should you be listening to me? I come from a diverse sales background. I've sold all over. I've sold from the Caribbean to Alaska to big cities in the United States. I really have a lot of experience. And typically, wherever environment I'm going into, I am number one. Or if I'm not number one, I am on top. I've even recently gone from the jewelry industry to the car industry, never selling cars in my life, and I am top of 50. Just I hit the ground running. Because once you can sell, doesn't matter what you're selling, you have the ability to sell, the ability to connect with people, the ability to make it happen. Now, I'm going to go through the first steps of the sale, and this is going to be a overview. Each one of these parts that I'm going to go over can be thoroughly explained in courses on each aspect of it, which I will do at a later time. But this is the first grand overview. Look at the big picture of sales. Now, the first step when you're looking at the sale is preparing for the sale. This is even before you will be in front of a customer. It is very important that you prepare for this sale. And the ultimate first step is know your product, understand your product. Now, do you have to know every aspect inside and out of your product to make a sale? No, it's not necessary. And in fact, I'm not saying that this is good practice or even good habit, but you should know that I've definitely seen people without any knowledge of product at all crush it in sales. Now, do I recommend doing this? Absolutely not. Because you want to be knowledgeable. You want to be the person that goes through. You want to be the authority of what you're selling with your customer. Because I'm introducing you to my approach, which has been proven to be successful. So you want to get a basic overview and understanding of your product. And at the same time, you're not going to know everything. But you should know that if the customers do have any questions, you will be able to figure out where you will get that information for them. That's very important. So you may not know all the answers, but you need to know where to get the correct answers. That's very important. And when a customer asks you something and you don't know the answer, some people might lie. But in my opinion, you'll get more respect by saying, "Sir, ma'am, I don't know the answer to your question, but I will be able to find that answer out for you. So let me find that out." And then either you find it out for them on the spot or you get back to them on the answer. It just depends on how relevant the answer is to that point of the sale at that current moment. All right. Now, another thing you need to know is how to access your inventory or product. What are you selling? Now, if you're selling jewelry, do you have access to the keys? There's nothing more embarrassing than somebody saying that they want to see something and you're fumbling, not knowing how to get it for them. Or maybe somebody wants to see a specific car or vehicle. Do you have the right access to the key machine? Or whatever you are selling, maybe you're selling insurance premiums or something like that. You need to be able to find out how do you access your inventory and how are you able to get your hands on it to present it, whether it's a tangible item or an intangible item. You still need to know how to access your product if you plan on selling it. But now, after you're able to access your product, then you have to learn what tools are there to help you present your product. Now, if you're selling jewelry, Where are your tweezers for loose stones? Where's your polishing cloth? Where are your trays? Where are your chairs so people can sit down when you're presenting your product? For cars, where do you pull up your car to show the customer? For clothing, where is your dressing room so the customer can try it on? For insurance, how are you doing it, presenting it for your insurance? But you have to know, how do I access my product to present it, to sell it? Because if you cannot present your product, you're not going to sell your product or service, whatever it is. Now, you have to also learn, after presenting the product has to be ready to be delivered for your customer. Now, whether it's a car, maybe you have to take it to make ready, to have it cleaned and detailed and sanitized to be delivered. For jewelry, maybe you have to steam and clean the piece. Find your boxes, find your bags. For clothing, you have to find the tools to remove the safety tags for it. Or maybe there's special packaging for certain brands of clothing. Or maybe you're selling a service. So now the customer is committed. So what steps do you have to take to get your team ready to start preparing that service for the customer? Or maybe you're selling insurance. Whatever it is, there's going to be a method of delivery of your product or service to the customer, and you need to know how to do that. Okay, and this all needs to be done before you're even going to meet the customer. You need to be very aware of this entire process. And then, finally, you're also going to need to know on how to collect payment or contract your customer. Because in whatever environment you're working in, I'm pretty sure it is not free in any form. Sometimes the customer may not have to pay out of their own pocket, but somebody else is footing the bill. So you need to know how, once the terms or whatever is agreed upon, whatever the agreement is, how are you going to deliver? How are you going to collect payment? Are you going to swipe a credit card? So you need to know how to use a credit card terminal. Are you going to use a point of sale system? So you have to be very familiar with how to check out on that point of sale system. Or whatever it is going to be, you need to know, how am I going to contract or collect the money from this customer? Now, all of this needs to be done before you even meet the customer. So I'm going to go over it again one more time. You have to have a basic understanding of your product. You have to know how to access this inventory or product. You have to learn the methods to present the product. You have to be able to prepare the product to be ready for delivery. And you have to know how to collect payment or contract. Next, this is the second stage. So you're about to face the customer, okay? Keep in mind, before facing the customer, you're meeting a human being. A lot of times I've noticed people get too caught up that, oh, this is just a lead, this is just something you have to burn. I'm attacking something like I'm attacking in a video game. No, this is another person with feelings, with emotions, with preconceived notions. This is a person who's probably worked very hard for their money that they're going to spend with you. Whether they're going to spend $10, whether they're going to spend $100,000, or whether it's a multi-million-dollar contract. You're dealing with another human being on another end. And whether it's their money or somebody else's money, this money was worked very hard to get, and nobody's going to spend it easily with you. They're going to want to make sure that they're making the right decision. Any sale is, the larger the amount, the more intimidating it is for the person, sometimes they have more experience, but remember, you're dealing with another person who spent their hard-earned money to come into where you're at. And you have to remember to empathize with them. You have to empathize with them. They're in a new environment, and sometimes we're in a world where you can't necessarily trust people, okay? So if the customer comes in and they don't trust you immediately, it's understandable. That is your job to build that trust. It's their job to not trust you for very good reason, okay? And then remember this, treat them like how you want to be treated. This is my golden rule, okay? I'm going to teach my selling process and what's successful for me. I like top-level service. I like luxurious, first-class service, okay? That's how I like to be treated. So I am going to do the same for my customers, okay? I'm going to give them the top royal treatment. I deliver what I want out of it. And just when you're presenting and helping someone get something, remember this. Try and present it the way you would like it to be presented to yourself. Now, remember, everybody is different, and only experience will teach you, and I'll get into that in later videos of, handling to your different customers' personalities. But remember how you like to be treated, and pass the same respect on to somebody else who's in your store. Now, we're going to get into the first meet, okay? You're going to first meet with the customer. You're going to greet them. Welcome them to your place of business. Oh, welcome to X&X Jewelers. Welcome to X&X dealership. Welcome to X&X environment. Or if it's on the phone, thank you for meeting me. I'm from X&X. Thank you for taking your time out to meet me from here. Welcome them. It's very important. Welcome them to your place. They taking their time out, maybe even drove out to where you're at. Take a little time to welcome them. And then offer them something to drink if you're there in person with them. Be hospitable. They're in your home, your place of business. Let's make them comfortable. Slow down. Let's not be so quick to jump into the sale. And then to be not quick to jump into the sale, make small talk. A few sentences here and there, something to create a connection as a person. Because remember, you as a salesperson are a human being. People forget that. But salespeople also forget their customers are human beings too. So, make small talk. Comment on something they're wearing. Comment on the weather. Find some way to build a little bit of a connection. Now, for some, this may be really easy. For some, this may be a bit of a challenge. This is definitely a topic that deserves a whole lesson on its own. But for the sake of just the basic process, try and build an initial small talk conversation with your customer before getting started. Now that we've connected with the customer, we've greeted the customer, we've gave them something to drink, maybe sat them down, made them comfortable in our place of business, we need to do a needs assessment. They are taking their time to meet with you for a reason. Your business can help them with their problem in some sort of way. Whether it's a birthday they need a present for, whether they need an insurance policy, they just moved, they needed a new car, they totaled their vehicle, whatever it is. Whatever they are with your place of business, you can somehow solve their problem where their money can solve a problem with your product, okay? And it's your job to facilitate that. Now, you probably have a range of products. I'm pretty sure it's not just one product that you have. And you need to understand them. So take the time, understand them, ask them questions. Why are they there? Ask them the relevant questions to your business. Not looking for a piece of jewelry. Okay, do you need something that is just for fancy occasions? You need something every day, dress up, dress down. I'm looking for a car. Maybe I need something that I can tow and pull with, or maybe I need a big minivan for, something big to hold my whole family, go to soccer practice, or maybe they're looking for a dress. I want something going for job interviews, or maybe I need something formal for prom, or dress for prom or something. So you need to understand where they're coming from and what is their problem they're trying to solve. Now, they may think they need a certain product, and you may not have that product. But if you just were there to check them out for a product, you're an order taker. But if you're there to present what you have that can solve their problem, whether or not they considered that option, and if you can convince them on why your options are better, that's a salesperson, okay? But that's getting too much into this video right now. So why are they at your store? What is their needs? What are their needs? How can you help them solve their needs, okay? And then another thing is good to find out an idea of budget. You can bump budget up, but if somebody's only looking to spend $1,000, you could probably make them fall in love with something that costs $100,000. But if their budget's $1,000, the chances of you making that sale is slim to none. Okay? So it's a good idea to get an idea of budget where they want to be. Then you can convince them to go higher if necessary. But at least you have something to work with. Okay? And then you also got to find out, too, everybody there that's needed to make the decision. Because sometimes you might just, for lack of better words, be wasting your time, or you know how to attack the sale from the beginning. Because you know if you're going to have to give certain information to get to the decision maker, and you can attack the sale accordingly. But if you don't know who all is there to make that decision, and if that decision can be made that then on the spot, this will help you find out where in the sales process they are. Now, left for another video, but I'll go off on a tangent. Sometimes they might not think they have all the decision makers there. They might not think they're ready to buy today. And you might be able to find out all the problems and steps needed to help them buy today. And you can turn that sale that they thought they would need a month or two to today. Not all the time, but you can. But asking all the right questions at the beginning is very helpful. The needs assessment is very helpful. And in fact, doing this video now makes me realize I'm going to need to do videos just on this. Okay? So look out for them. And give everyone the same attention. Never underestimate by how someone looks. I've been selling, sometimes when I've sold jewelry, I've had people that have looked borderline homeless. Now, don't mess out with someone who's just drugged out and might be a danger to your store's environment. That's a different story altogether. But there are people who did not dress the part, but when it came to spend, they spend more than their part. And I'm going to leave you with a little story on this aspect, where I even underestimated, but I tend to try not to underestimate. I was selling retail in a tourism environment jewelry, and this little 7 or 8 year old, couldn't be older than that, comes and just points out this diamond watch, right? And this diamond watch is probably like 3 or 4 grand. It's got some diamonds on it, steel. And I'm not thinking to myself, this 7, 8 year old is going to be able to buy this watch, and logically, probably not, right? But what I thought is, okay, well, I'm not doing anything. Let me entertain this child. And maybe this might be an opening for me to sell their parents something nice, So I pull out the watch, and all of a sudden the parent comes right after because it's a 7, 8 year old. How often are they going to be unattended? The kid runs over, and then the parent wants to see what happens. And now there's a salesperson pulling out a watch. So then the parent's like, yeah, let's see it on him. I'm like, okay. And then they're like, it was a leather strap, so there's no way it was able to fit him. Can you make those holes fit? Yeah, I can have my goldsmith put some holes in there to make this watch fit. Okay. So the kid, do you like this watch? Uh-huh. How much is it? Yeah, like 3 grand something. Here's my credit card. Okay, I'll take it. I was like, what? Never forget. This is a story my entire life I'll never forget. And I underestimated the situation. Little did I think the kid pointing out what they wanted, the parents would actually buy for them. I mean, it wasn't in my reality that a parent would spend 3 grand on a diamond watch for their 7 or 8 year old, but I was proven wrong. And I hope this is a lesson to you, as it was a lesson for me. And there have been plenty of other times when I'm working in high-end jewelry. You see a young couple, they're low 20s, they're teenagers. Most salespeople will avoid them. I gave them attention, and they spend a few grand, and it's a decent sale. Or just never underestimate. Give everyone their full attention. Give them the respect of being in your store. And one thing I've learned is maybe sometimes people can't spend as much as other people, but that money that they're spending is very dear to them, and they've worked very hard for it. And when I was selling jewelry, even if somebody just bought $100 thing, but it meant a lot to them, I gave them, even if they were spending the same attention, experience, enthusiasm, customer service as someone who spent $100,000. Because you know why? They deserved it. And that $100 could have been a lot for them. They may not make a lot, and they could have saved a lot for that. Everybody deserves good. And there's always one quote that I've heard: in the way you do anything, you do everything. And just in the way you treat anyone, you treat everyone. And make it a part of who you are to just give good service to whoever's in front of you. Doesn't matter their financial background. None of their background should matter. They're a human being there who wants your product or service, so it's your job to give them incredible experience. All right? Let me move on to the next. Now, in the needs assessment, they can vary in the way you handle them for different locations. Like, there are, if we get into retail, there are different destination locations, or there's maybe like passive traffic locations. So one might be a destination store, the other one might be passive traffic in a tourist area or a mall. You will handle this differently, but nevertheless, there's some sort of needs assessment that can be done, even if it's an impulse buy. But I will get into that in later videos. Now, once you've understood the customer, you present 1 to 3 options. The fewer, the better. The more you present to a customer, the more confused they get, the more time they need, the more homework they're going to do. And in the end, remember, you are the expert. You are the professional. You are there to speed up their process, to help them out, so they can solve their problem and move on with their life. So the less you present, the better. But remember this, after you've narrowed down, if you have presented the product well enough, the customer should ask questions the next step. So it's your job to give a bomb A-grade presentation. That's something that's its own video on its own, but you have to make sure you present all the benefits, the features, and get enthusiastic about it. Why do you like that product? And share that with them. And you should do such a good job, they should ask, how much is it? Or other questions that would lead to how they contracted or how they would acquire your product or service. Now, they're not all going to, even if you give your grade A service, but that should be your goal. Get them to ask how much, or how to purchase it, or how to acquire it. If they do that, that's a very good sign. Then, once you've narrowed down your product or service, you go for a trial close. Is this something you would be happy with? Is this something that would solve your problem? And once you get the customer to commit to yes, that, and this is what they would be happy with to solve their problem, and you get them to use their mouth to confirm it, then you move on to the next step, which is price discussions and negotiations. That's a plethora of information there, but that would be the next step. And then once a customer agrees, you will contract them, take their money, however the process of your business is, run their credit card, use the point of sale system. And then after that, you deliver the product or service, or maybe you have to get a team to get started on doing work for them, like a construction job, whatever it is. But that is the basic sales process 101. This should get you started. This should be a little bit enough to get you working and find out how each of these steps are relevant to your place of business. Now, I will put out more videos later and different areas of content. And I will even drill down on each one of these aspects many, many times. Because mastering the sale there's so much dedication, experience, so much that goes into it. And selling can be quite fun, actually, if you have fun with it and you're just connecting with people and talking to people and having fun with people, and making money while you're doing it. Now, if you find my content helpful, in the description, I am going to leave a link to a Patreon and a PayPal donation. You can join my Patreon. There will also be an option so you can do live Q&As with me. Or if you've just felt my content is good, you could just leave the donation with PayPal. And also, please, leave comments. Let me know what you want to learn more about. How I can use my experience to help you become a magical salesperson. And today, I will leave you with my first video, and I look forward to speaking to you next time. Thank you, have a wonderful day, and good luck on your sales adventure. Thanks, and have a great day.